Hi everybody, we are back and we're still on this series. I have with me Her Excellency, Madam Kadri Humal Ayal, who's the Honorary Consul, of Estonia, and she's on this show to answer any question I have. Yani, I have a blank document and a blank sheet available to me to ask any question that I have. And by the way, if you have any questions you want to know, please feel free to send them and we will try and get Kadri to help us later on to get the questions answered. But for now, I will be asking the questions. And the question I have for you today, or this show, Kadri, is, does Kenya trade with Estonia at the moment?
Yes, it does. There is some trade. However, it's quite minimum.
Okay.
Because Estonia has not been a traditional trade partner to Kenya. And so it is not as much as it could be. I know there has been interest, for example, from flower farmers to trade direct with Estonia. But Estonia, in many ways, probably is not a very good trade partner for Kenya, because Kenya always looks for huge markets.
Yes.
And so Estonia, 1.3 million, is not necessarily a bulk destination.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, if you're looking at some of the smaller SMEs, because not all trade has to be in huge containers, in huge volumes, then that's indeed an opportunity. And I think there are many ways in which Estonian entrepreneurs and Kenyan entrepreneurs are actually very similar.
Okay.
Because Estonia regained its independence in 1991. So all Estonian businesses that are currently in business are just about 20 or less years old, which is pretty much the same culture in Kenya. When you look at businesses here, not many of them can say that, look, I inherited this business from my great-great-grandfather who did the same line of business, which is very often the practice in the traditional Europe or some of the older companies in US or India or China for that matter. Yeah. And so in that way, the businesses in Estonia and the businesses in Kenya speak the same language. Okay. They all, this is our business, this is my generation business, and I'm the one who started it and I'm the one who's running it.
Okay, so I have two questions related to that. So the first one is, how can a business person in Kenya, looking perhaps, who's an SME, is not looking for huge volumes, how can they find out what opportunities there are that relate to his industry in Estonia, and how easy is it to plug into that? And then secondly, you mentioned the fact that the Estonian enterprise owners are similar to Kenyans, and to me, when I've done my research to find out, it sounds like Estonians are very enterprising. And so perhaps after you answer that question is, what is it that the government, or what does parenting do? I don't know. What is it that you do to ensure that your people are very enterprising and entrepreneurial, I should say, in the way that they are?
Sure. So first and foremost, there is Estonian Chamber of Commerce and Industry that actually say we are the first address that you ever need when approaching Estonia. So the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Estonia is a very strong, very vibrant, at the same time very open and accepting institution. They have had a formal MOU signed with the Kenyan Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the national office, and there have been exchange of delegations as well. So it is a formal business route for anybody to take. And so also if they go to the Estonian Chamber of Commerce and Industry website, there is the Estonian Import-Export Directory that is readily available for download. So straight away they can see what are the areas in which Estonia is looking for partners to carry out import. And equally export, because I know Kenya, very often, many Kenyan businesses are not going out there looking for what can I sell to the rest of the world. Most of them are going there saying, what can I buy into Kenya? So, so there are opportunities for both.
And what website would they go to?
Estonian Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
And it's all listed there. You just download it and you'll be able to see.
Absolutely. And Estonia is one of those countries where information is very readily available. All it takes is, it's just a Google click away. And so that one is available straight away. Something else that probably is of interest to the Kenyan business that needs to operate within European Union is that Estonia has e-residency. E-residency is a very interesting and unique concept in the world. What it means is that any person from anywhere across the world can become an Estonian e-citizen. Means that it's e-citizenship, not physical citizenship. They can continue living in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, in wherever it is that they live.
Okay.
But they have access to the e-governance and e-operational platforms in Estonia. It gives them the possibility to open a business in Estonia that will then be a European Union business.
So you don't have to be Estonian to open a business there?
Correct.
And I don't have to have an Estonian partner?
And you don't have to have an Estonian partner. You don't need to have a physical office in Estonia. You don't need to live in Estonia to benefit from the European Union trade agreements.
Interesting.
So that is something that would be of interest. Now, coming to your question about entrepreneurship in general in Estonia. Yeah. So yes, Estonia indeed is highly entrepreneurial because when Estonia regained its independence in 1991, it straight away knew that it needs to go into business. Because at that point in time, the day zero of Estonia in August 1991, all big enterprises were government owned. It was still the Soviet legacy, where everything was owned by the state. Yeah. And so for Estonian people who had been capitalist in their mind all the way through from the time Estonia was an independent state before Second World War, Estonians are capitalistic, Estonians are entrepreneurial. It had been suppressed during the Soviet era. And so the moment it was possible to open business, anybody and everybody straight away was able to fulfill what their hearts had desired for decades. And so it opened the floodgates. People went straight away into small businesses, trading in food, creating embroidery, handicrafts, things that you can do straight away without much capital. Yeah. And so from there, things have grown. And so Estonia has further and further continued to encourage business and entrepreneurship. Like for example, currently, when you look at your bank might offer you a loan, and they have various segments in which they offer you loans. One of the loans that you can apply for is to create a product prototype.
You can get a loan to create a prototype?
Yes. So there are loan categories, and one of them is product prototype.
And what security would you?
No, you don't need to necessarily have security. The Estonian banks are quite open with loans, but they want to be very clear that what you're applying for is what indeed you intend to do. But in Kenya, I'm yet to see a bank.
I hope they listen.
Talk about product prototype loan.
Yeah, that is so. First of all, for you to get a loan in Kenya, you need to demonstrate where you're going to get cash flows or where cash flows are going to come from to repay the loan.
Okay, but in Estonia they know that if you have a good product, if you're able to produce a good product prototype, and if you're a startup, that product prototype is what will give you to become the next MoneyWise, next Taxify, next Skype. And so Estonia in itself has a very favorable startup environment. In fact, it encourages startups from across the world to come and set up in Estonia because it has favorable tax regimes, it has favorable environment specifically for startups.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, if there are Kenyan startups, they are welcome to set up in Estonia.
Yeah.
And so equally in high school students are taught how to be entrepreneurial, how to identify needs that are there and how to fulfill those needs through business enterprise. And so all high schools in Estonia encourage their students to set up student enterprises, and these can be ranging from something in software development, something in apps. It can be, but most of the time Estonians actually feel that there is need for tangible products, because tangible product is something that you can then trade globally. And so the high school that I went to had a very successful, in fact they've had many, but the one that I particularly want to bring out right now is they started to make watches. So there were about 3 or 4 high school boys who were starting to make watches from Estonian wood. And so they were wooden watches called whoosh. And they were so popular that Estonian Prime Minister used to give them as gift to other prime ministers and presidents across the world whom he would meet. So the product itself was of that high quality that the prime minister could offer it as a gift.
And this was somebody you were in school with?
Oh no, I'm not that young anymore. Thank you.
Or somebody who started it from high school.
Yes, from the same high school where I went to high school. Yes.
Oh, wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. I actually want to wrap this up and ask so many more questions. So allow me to wrap this up. I hope you have enjoyed this. And if you're in business and you're wondering, okay, I can't get capital in Kenya, you can actually set up. Just go to. You said it was e-citizenship in Estonia, and you can start a business and you can, you know, find out what opportunities there are from the Chamber of Commerce in Estonia. And by the way, you don't have to just think about the country that you operate in. There's opportunities out there. Keep watching. This is Rina Hicks and you are watching MoneyWise. Take care.